Two young girls are discovered in the forest after having been missing for 5 years, but it turns out that they were not alone. This is Mama.
Victoria and Lily were found in deplorable conditions. Their parents gone. Alone in the wilderness for at least 5 years.
Hey, Victoria.
How they survived is unexplainable.
I'm your daddy's brother. Remember Uncle Luke?
With a loving family environment, Victoria and Lily have a real chance at a normal life.
You sure about this?
Nope.
Hey, girls.
I'm Annabelle. You can call me that. Or whatever you like.
Now, I think it should be stated that I'm a big horror fan, so I was looking forward to Mama. I thought it had an interesting premise, and I was looking forward to it. And after having seen Mama, I have to say, I was pretty impressed. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but overall, I actually really enjoyed it, and I was able to kind of look past its flaws and kind of look at what it did right. And overall, I really liked it. In terms of the plot, I thought it was pretty original. It kind of was like a cool twist on the haunted house story. I mean, even though the house wasn't haunted, it still kind of felt like in that same genre, there was bumps going on and stuff like that. I really think it was kind of a risky plot because it was just kind of really odd, and I felt like it was kind of hard to market, but I mean, when I saw it, the theater was packed, so I guess they marketed it pretty darn good. My favorite aspect of this movie would probably have to be the directing. I thought that the director had a great tone and atmosphere throughout the whole movie. It was gothic, but it also felt modern. I also thought that the director had some really great scenes that really kind of stuck with me. Not because they were scary, essentially, but more just because they were creative. For example, there's this one scene where the director just kind of has the camera just stay. It's all one shot, and you see the characters kind of moving in between these two rooms, and you see something weird going on over here. The character over here almost sees it, and I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really well done. It was one of my favorite scenes. There's another scene where you see something in the corner, and without giving anything away, you think it's one thing, and it turns out it's not, and when you realize it, it's oh, that's cool. So I definitely thought the movie was scary. It wasn't incredibly scary, but there was definitely a couple moments where I felt a little fear inside me, which is good because a lot of horror films nowadays don't really do that. So even though this one didn't truly scare me, it did give me a little there was tension in it, which was good. There were also some scenes that felt like they had been done before, but I thought they were done well because I was still scared by them. For example, there's a scene where a character goes looking through a closet, and it's been done a million times before, but I was still kind of on the edge of my seat while watching it, and then I kind of knew what was going to happen. But the fact that I still liked it is definitely positive. The screenwriting, I feel is kind of the weakest part. I like the original concept, and I thought it was daring, and I love the first half. I thought it was a really great build and how they developed the characters. I thought it was great, but the longer the film went on, the worse it got for me. I felt once we hit the halfway point, it was almost they kind of ran out of ways to advance the plot, and for a good 20 to 25 minutes, it kind of felt like it was just treading water. Nothing much was happening except for just kind of scares. And I feel scares should in some way advance the plot, and these ones weren't really doing that. I wasn't a huge fan of the third act. I thought too much stuff kind of all started happening together, and it got it got too over the top, and it essentially kind of just wasn't scary because so much was going on. The film also had a lot of horror cliches in it, such as flickering lights and swinging chandeliers and stuff like that. It's stuff we've all seen before, and it's kind of just feels tired, especially the flickering lights. They use those way too much. I understand that they flicker every time Mama is present, but I mean, why did you write that into the script? It just seems silly. Another thing that I didn't like about this movie was the excessive amounts of CGI. The creature, if you will, was very CGI. You could obviously tell that it was, and so that kind of took me out of it. I thought the design of the creature was pretty cool, but overall the CGI kind of made it not that spectacular. It won't go down as a memorable horror monster. And there's one scene in the very beginning that is really bad because it's like a car like begins to slide and it goes over like a hill, and the car is CGI and it's so obvious, and it just makes me think like, why didn't you just use an actual car for that? My biggest complaint with the movie is kind of weird, but I hated the face of Mama. I thought every time it showed her face, it was just instantly not scary. Like, you would see the creature and she would be like doing something freaky and I'd be like, oh man, this is good, and then they'd show her face and just like that. I was not scared anymore. I thought the face looked way too goofy, and it just, I don't know what they were thinking, because I just can't see someone like looking at that and being like, that is terrifying. They really could have spent more time designing the face, because I felt like everything else about her, like her body, her hair, was really creepy. But yeah, the face was not good. The film stars Jessica Chastain, and she's great in it, and it just proves how every film she does, she gives it her all. She was great in Zero Dark 30, which I just recently saw, and she's also great in this, and they're two completely different characters, and it really shows like the versatility of her acting. I really love Jessica Chastain's character. I thought she was very cool in the beginning, but she was also very cold, and I loved how her character developed, even though it was a little obvious and a little shoehorned in. I still really liked it. The rest of the performances were adequate. I thought the main guy was pretty decent. I wasn't a huge fan of the two girls. I thought they could have done better. I kind of thought they were just okay. I thought the little girl was a little bit better because she definitely had a more creepy factor, but that was more her character, so I don't really know if that had anything to do with her performance. But yeah, I kind of thought they were just okay. But those are my thoughts on Mama. I did enjoy it, even though it had quite a few problems. I'm going to end up giving it 2.5 stars out of 4. So let me know what you thought of Mama. Did you enjoy it like I did, or did you think it was a bit too weird? Did you also think that her face wasn't scary, and did you think there was too much CGI? So let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your deepest, darkest desires, and that was Mama.